Good morning, what's shaking, what's happening? Welcome back to Tasty Bites, Timeless Travels. Today is day 53, I believe, of our cruise around the world. Today, the ship is docked in Komodo Island, Indonesia. Now, we're not going to get off, but let's talk about why. Come join us. Look at how stunning this island is. Oh my goodness, it is beautiful out here. I feel like I could be in Jurassic Park. Now, like I said, we chose not to get off here. Reason being is to get onto Komodo Island, you have to have an arranged tour, whether it be through the ship or whether it be through a third party. But it's a protected island. There is a village here. There are people that live here, I do believe. But you can't just take the tender over to the island and wander around. So the big draw is Komodo dragons, hence the name Komodo Island. But it's actually also called like Slobby Bay or something. But we can see those at Animal Kingdom, and we can see those at Zoo Tampa. There's also a pink beach, but I'll be honest with you, the excursions for the two of us to get off for 2 hours was looking like it was going to be a couple $100, like $200 starting, even with the third parties. So to us, it just wasn't worth the money to get off the ship for 2 hours. Now, there are lots of people that say, oh, but you'll never be able to come back, once in a lifetime, blah, 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 blah. I get that. And if I didn't live in Orlando, where the major theme parks, especially Disney and the zoos, do such a great job to try to recreate the natural environments of these animals, it might be different. But Disney sends people out all over the world to make sure that their habitats are exactly like where they're from. And Zoo Tampa is a leading premier zoo in the country, so they're pretty set. And like I said, this trip, 124 days. $200 is an excursion somewhere else. So that's a whole day excursion to go see a whole lot more things. So it is a decision that we made. And we are not the only ones that made this decision. A lot of people, because it's a tender port, it's a rough tender port, it's a staircase, everything was strenuous, it's out in the heat, you're going through the jungle looking for these Komodo dragons. A lot of people did opt to stay on, but some people are going to get off and go enjoy the day. It's just what you want to do and what you want to make of your time. If we were big nature people, we'd probably get off. We're just not. So we're just going to stay on the ship, enjoy this beautiful view, and see what fun we can have on a port day when we don't get off the ship. Now, I did wake up with a little bit of crud today, so this might be a big nap day for me. But C is raring to go. I think she's going to go to the pool, and there are some activities in the afternoon. So let's see what fun we can have on a port day that you don't get off. Good morning. We are not on Komodo Island anymore. Welcome to Bali, Indonesia. Yesterday, remember I said, which you do remember, it was just a few minutes ago, I said I got kind of the cruise crud. I had a really bad migraine headache. It put me in bed all day with the curtains drawn. I ended up getting room service for dinner. I just got some chicken noodle soup. It was very funny. I told the woman on the phone, I said, I just want some chicken noodle soup. And she goes, that's it? And I said, yeah, I'm not feeling very well. I just want some chicken noodle soup for dinner. She had it to my room in 10 minutes since I didn't feel good. She's very nice of them. So It's, you know, it's terrible getting sick on a cruise. Thankfully, it was just a migraine, nothing more. Yes, it was a port day, but thankfully it was a port we didn't have anything planned. Because, man, if I would have paid for us to go onto the island and not been able to do it, I would have been super upset. But if I had to get sick, those were the best circumstances. But today is day 53, and today is Bali. Check it out. Now, we have made zero plans for Bali. When we kept asking, obviously there's a lot of crew members from Bali, we kept asking around. Everything involved a cab ride, negotiations, or a 9-hour tour. Everything is 2 hours away due to traffic. So we have opted, we're going to get out, we're going to explore the port area, and then we were told there was like a convenience store and there's a few restaurants on the little island thing where the ships dock, because you have to take a bridge into town. But we have opted to stay on. Now, the cool thing about Bali, because there are so many crew members from here, first off, our room attendants are both from Bali. We were asked about a week ago, they left a note on the door. It was from Hank, the general manager, the hotel general manager. And he said, we have a lot of guests that opt out. If you would like to opt out, please let us know. We'll leave a little note, you know. So the majority of guests have opted out. There are still a few guests that have opted to have housekeeping today, but we told them we didn't need it the entire day. They left us extra towels last night, and we said we would see them the day after. It's fine. Holland has approved at the port talk, it was 820 visitor passes. So the crew members from Bali get to bring their family on board. Now, it's only for an hour because it's so many guest passes today, but they get to bring them on board, show them what they do. Our main dining room server was so excited. It's his 2 daughters, it's his wife, his sister, his nephew. One of our stateroom attendants, it's his 3 daughters, his mom, his wife. Our other stateroom attendant, it's his wife and his 2 daughters. They all get to come on at some point and see the ship, see what they do. And then I know our main dining room server, Gus, he's taking his family out to lunch today. He said there are some restaurants here. That's how we knew to look for them. He said they're all seafood restaurants and they're all good. But so we're just going to stay on board. Well, we're going to get off for about, you know, a half an hour or so. Like I said, there is a convenience store and there are a couple restaurants. We'll look at the menus. Gus said that they're very good and that we would be okay to eat at them if we wanted to. But otherwise, we're going to stay on board and we're going to see the reunions. The energy on the ship for the past couple of days has been amazing. Everyone is so excited to be here, so excited to see their families. And as we pulled in this morning, you could see the various servers in the Lido start to cry and have tears. It's the first time they've seen their families in a while. It's the first time their families have been able to see the ship, things like that. So it's just been such a positive vibe around here. And Kimberly's back, which helps too. It's just been amazing. So I don't have any regrets about not doing a tour. We've talked to other people and they said, yeah, they're just so long. And our time's weird today. It's 10 to 8. So these 9-hour tours, they're getting back. And the captain's already said the ship is leaving at 9 o'clock, whether people are back or not, whether it's in it. The tours are all scheduled to be back at 8, which is our all aboard time. He said he has to leave by 9 due to tides. So even if it's a ship sponsored excursion, if it gets back after 9 o'clock, he has to leave. The ship has to be out of the port by 9 o'clock due to the tides. So should be a good day, should be fun. Super excited. It is beautiful. Oh my God, it's breathtaking here. It's amazing. So here's a fun, interesting fact about our porting in Bali. So the big staircase, the big gangway, that is just for the crew and their guests because there's so many of them. There is a little gangway under it and there is another gangway here all the way down here. Because they have the over 800 guests today that are coming aboard and all the crew members that are getting off, they get their own dedicated gangway today. Isn't that cool? That's so neat. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about working for Holland from every employee, and sometimes you think, maybe that's too good to be true, but The longer I'm on this cruise, the more I realize maybe they are just one of the most amazing employers ever. Who knows? But also, check out the view from my balcony today. So since we aren't going anywhere, this is the area that we're gonna walk around. Just this little port island area. But there's not too terribly much to do, but there is like a little temple over there, and then there's a temple way back yonder. And there's, you know, the little show in the shops at the port. But also check this out. Look at all these little Volkswagen Bugs. That's like a tour. That's an excursion you could have bought, was seeing the city in a Volkswagen Bug convertible. Isn't that neat? Hopefully we get cleared soon. It looks like the gangways are in place. The photographers are in place. The people helping with the gangways are in place. The musicians are in place. We are ready to go. We are forward, so we just have to literally go down to A deck. We're going to try to get out early before it gets too hot and just walk around this area. They didn't say we couldn't, though. I know we went to something the other night with Byron, the lead host, and he said it's best to have a plan for Bali. Don't get caught just wandering around. But from the employees, it sounds like just staying in this little area is going to be okay. So we'll see. All right, thoughts on the Bali port. You know, Byron warned everyone to not get off the ship without a plan. The port dog did say that there was going to be a ton of taxi vendors. It was pretty rough. We did talk to one guy that I was willing to negotiate with to take us to the mall, but it was like $50 total to go to the mall. And I said, dude, that's too much. And then he was like, oh, how much? And I was like, no, I can tell you right now, it's too much. If I would have bought an independent tour from Viter, it would have only been $50 to see the entire area. So I don't think we're interested in doing a tour. Like I said, everything's 2 hours away. It's temples or the beach, which we're not ready for the beach. And it's a little hot to go to the beach for us. So the port does have this cute little shopping area, but they will also hound you. So typically it doesn't bother C, it bothers me, but we're in role reversal today where it's bothering me. It's not bothering me, but it's bothering C. So I don't exactly know what we're going to end up doing, but we are going to try to do a little bit of shopping. But I don't think we're going to go anywhere. I really wanted to go to the rice fields, but they're 2 hours away, and I'm just not interested in spending 2 hours in a car in Bali at this moment in traffic. We've already got a big tour of Malaysia coming up, and that's going to be 2 hours on a bus. So let's see what we're going to do. All right, so we came back to the ship. That was a lot of heckling. It was a little too much. C was not doing so good with it. Me, just having gotten over that migraine yesterday, was not in the mood for it. So it was funny because we were walking back to the terminal. We ran into the maitre d' from the main dining room. He is from this area, and he said, oh, you're already going back? And I said, this is just too much on her. The one thing I wanted to see is like 2 hours away. It's too late in the day to do it. It was already like 11:15 at that point. And he said, yeah, I wouldn't go out there this late. And he goes, there's somewhere I think you ladies would like. And he started explaining it, and a tour operator happened to come up. And I said, well, where is it on the map or something? So he pointed it out, and they started talking in their language, and they all of a sudden started having some harsh words and some frustrations. And I said, I don't need to do this. So we came back on. So we've talked to a few people, and they've all said the same thing. It's very pushy. The spa manager actually said they're relentless, is the words that she used. She said, oh yeah, this is relentless, because the one trip to the mall that guy was trying to charge you would have fed his family for a month. That is such a money maker for them. It's such a settling feeling, and I get that, but that's just too much to go to the mall. But yeah, it is pretty relentless. So we've had a nice time on board. We've ran into some families we've run into some people that, some of the crew members who've been super excited to introduce us to their families. We've seen them come through the buffet area, and they're all excited. The kids are excited to get as much ice cream as they want, things like that. So that is our impressions of the Bali cruise port. Beautiful. But what the guy was charging me to go to the mall, I could have done a whole tour of the island on Viters. So an interesting stop nonetheless. We couldn't even shop. Like, C loves to get bracelets from all the countries, but this was also one of those, it was almost like Jamaica or Mexico, places you would see in the Caribbean, where they would start putting things on you, or even like Hollywood Boulevard, they would start putting things on you and then try to charge you. And so it was just too much for us. It is also very, very hot, which I knew Indonesia was hot, but it's very hot. Having gotten over the migraine yesterday, it's just nothing we want to really do, not with the time constraints that we have. Now, at one point we were going to do an overnight in Bali. At one point they were dropping Komodo Island, and this was going to be an overnight. And if they would have kept it at that, we would have just gone to the Conrad Hotel. It would have been free with my Hilton points, and we would have done that, and that would have been lovely. But I've also heard that the people that went onto Komodo Island yesterday, they said this was nothing compared to the Komodo Island village, that they were incredibly relentless there. So it's just that type of country. I kind of knew that coming in, but still pretty rough. So we're just going to enjoy the beautiful views of Bali. Where we're at is gorgeous. The port's on one side. There's all this like wetland on the other. And I think we're going to watch Crazy Rich Asians. It's not C's favorite movie, but it's got some sights of Singapore, and we're gearing up for Singapore in a couple days. So I'm also interested to see how many people are in the main dining room tonight, because there's no one on the ship. No one except the families. They're only allowed on for an hour, and then they have to get off so that they can cycle through all these 820 people. It was a long line of people waiting to get on. So we're just gonna watch all the family reunions. It's very special. It's nice to see, especially like the young men who have brought on their moms, and the pride that their mom has in their son for having such a great job on such a beautiful ship. It's amazing. So we're gonna enjoy our rest of the day doing that. So see you guys for dinner. All right, appetizers have arrived. C got a citrus avocado salad thing. We're trying to figure out if that green is kale or spinach. But hers looks pretty. I think mine might be prettier. I got the sesame chicken. I think it might be slightly prettier. Let me know. All right, the entrees have arrived. They had cobia on the menu tonight, and that is C's absolute favorite fish. So it is a cornflake cobia and a homemade tartar sauce. That looks delicious. We got a entree for the table today. We got a hoisin roasted duck with ramen noodles and apparently a very hot plate. So that's a little duck action there. And then I went super simple. I got a chicken breast. It's like a tarragon chicken breast with mashed potatoes and some vegetables. So dinner is looking delicious. All right, dessert time. C got her happy smiley fruit plate. I got chocolate cheesecake. And then we also got something called a princess cake. I won prettiest dessert. Woo! So this will end the Indonesia part of this trip. It was Komodo Island and Bali. I know we didn't do a lot, but honestly, this was like a bonus stop for us. If we would have envisioned a trip around the world where we flew, Bali wasn't necessarily somewhere that we were looking at going, other than maybe taking a cruise out of Singapore that would have taken us to Bali and Malaysia and those areas. But it wasn't somewhere that we had to go. I wish it would have been the overnight instead of Komodo Island, because like I said, we would have gone to the Conrad. There's a forklift right under me right now. I don't know why. It has sat there all day, and all of a sudden somebody's driving it now. But I tell you, it was worth it to meet the crew members' families. Some of them were so proud for us to meet them and show them off. And it was nice running into them, and just even the crew members we didn't know, it was so nice to see their families, you know, see the ship and the kids get the ice cream. And we went to adult coloring, and some of the kids saw some of the drawings, and she let them have some. And there was some that needed to be entertained for a little bit, so she gave them some colored pencils, and they just sat there and colored. being from Orlando and always being around kids and then not being around kids for this past couple of months, it's nice to kind of see the family atmosphere. You do kind of miss it after a while. But as far as Indonesia, I don't think it's somewhere that we will ever return to. And if we do, we probably won't get off. We're used to pushy. You know, we've been to Cozumel, we've been to Jamaica, we've been to places like that. This was just at another level. And when we spoke with some of the crew members, and they were here on the Western Dam last year, when it stopped here last year, they said it got so bad that there was points that crew members had to intervene and tell the taxi drivers to leave the guests alone. And even the crew members themselves have had problems with them, saying, we're crew, we don't need your help, we're just going. There's a restaurant like right here by the port. They're just going there to eat, and they would still say, oh, no, I can drive you somewhere. So it's just like that, and it's just not our thing. And then because we're such a cutoff area of the city, it does get expensive to leave this little section of the city. So it's definitely tough. So if you were to come here on a cruise, my big suggestion, plan ahead. Now, I will tell you, the people that are coming back from the excursions look very tired. It did have a massive rainstorm today. But if you're interested in the sights, we weren't really interested in the sights. So we were good just seeing the sights that the people reunite with their family. But we also got told Komodo Village was even worse, which is weird because you had to have an excursion to get on the island. So it's not like it was even that many people, but they were very, very pushy over there. So, you know, if that's your thing, go for it. It just wasn't ours. No regrets, though. The island itself is beautiful. The view has been beautiful all day long. The sunset is amazing. So, and it was seeing the family members was fulfilling, actually. It was nice to see. So this went in the Indonesia section of the trip. And then after this, we are off to Singapore. Super excited. But we have a couple sea days before we get there. But tomorrow's a very special day because it is C's birthday. So tomorrow is going to be a sea day with a birthday at sea. So can't wait. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, follow us along, share us on whatever, find us on Facebook, all those fun social things. Keep following our adventures on this, the Holland America 2025 Grand World Voyage. Have a good night. Bye.